Yeah. All right, thanks for joining the webinar. This is Jimmy King. I am joined by Jim Paolino with Lodestar, and today we are covering the mortgage transaction costs. So really pushing the envelope on where you can get the customers can have transparency, how you're building that trust, and wanted to welcome everybody into the webinar here. So a little bit of background on Lodestar, and then Jim can give his intro. They're working on third-party fees. They're working on solutions to get those third-party fees into LOSs and the point of sales via API, which is what we use. They've got over 150 lenders using their product in different ways. And from what I understand, Jim, it's you guys do what, 99.9% accuracy? Is that right?
If we did that, we'd be out of business. I think we're a little bit higher, actually. Last year, we saw 1 out of every 22,000 quotes resulting in a cure. Thanks so much, Jimmy, for having me. I know I actually went by Jimmy going up, and you told me before the call, Jim, I have a full head of hair, so I'm going to be Jimmy. So please list your name. So that was where we ended up here. But thanks so much for having me, everyone. At Lodestar, we do one thing. It's closing costs. We just celebrated our 10th year anniversary in business. Worked with lenders, title agents all throughout the country, and we basically help people quote closing costs. So typically, closing costs that go on the loan estimate. As this audience knows, those are subject to tolerances. You can pay cures, and those cures can really add up very quickly. The number of loan officers here who probably lost a few grand on one file at one point, it is probably significant. We get a lot of calls after that happens, whereas people are adding states. But one of the things that caused us to integrate, and one of the things that we're seeing in a trend, is people don't only want closing costs when they need them, regulatory wise for the loan estimate, they need them earlier in the process. So we've seen more integrations with point of sale systems. We've seen more integrations with top of funnel systems like Banking Bridge. And there are some very real reasons for that. So I'm excited to not only talk about us, but also talk about why fees and why do these things matter at the top of the funnel.
Great. Yeah.
So this is a little bit about the different systems that we're in. We support your basic third-party closing costs. So the most popular ones and the most needed ones on title fees supported are the title premiums, the owners, the lenders, endorsements that go with that, title fees that go with that, as well as the transfer taxes and recording fees. The transfer taxes being a zero tolerance item. So that's a big concern with a lot of folks. And because these are third-party fees, you can maintain them yourselves, but usually it gets complex once you start adding a few different states. We have people call us and say, hey, I had 10 templates. I could do that. I added a bunch of states. Now I have 100 templates to maintain. I don't really want to do that anymore. So we update that for you, and we also guarantee the data through our accuracy. So it's something that really adds a lot of value there.
And Jim, on the title policies, so does the lender as a customer of yours, do they have the option to select their, I guess I would call it their favorite or their preferred title of insurance or their preferred appraisal? How does that work?
Yep, that's a good question. So yes, we have about 3,000 title agents in our system now. And when a lender comes in, they always have their favorites. They have the people they want to set up. So we go in and make sure those get set up for them. And that's at no charge to the title agent. So we're able to set up anyone there so they can see the pricing from the people that they actually work with. And should you go and originate a loan in an area where you don't have a go-to provider, you can leverage our list. You can leverage our preferred providers as well to make sure you're getting covered there.
Gotcha. Do you see like brokers pushing into using you guys as a service, or is it mostly bigger players? What is your typical like customer base, or what do you see growing in the last?
Yeah, good question. I mean, a little bit of both. Generally speaking, if you're originating in a very small geographic area, one state, one county even, you don't need us, in my opinion. If you know what the fees are in Orange County, California, it doesn't make sense to use this. But if you're a broker licensed in a bunch of states, if you're an originator who's working in a bunch of different states, then it makes sense because the complexity of this and the risk just got too high, basically, at the end of the day. And then, as you can see, too, there's a value to providing this early on. You all know what happens if your fees are too low, you pay a cure. But the way that a lot of brokers, a lot of people try to compensate for that is they just increase the fees, right? They say, let's just put seller fees on the buyer side. Let's put the title costs 3% of the loan amount, whatever. Let's get these really high so I'll never have to pay a cure. Now you're not competitive. Now you have tools like Banking Bridge. Other people are going through and looking at these quotes, and that price is sticking out. So you're actually losing deals because you're not pricing competitively. So we like to feel we're the kind of Goldilocks happy medium of, we're focusing on the accuracy. So you show what the costs are actually going to be. So it makes it easier to capture that borrower right at that initial point of contact.
Sure. So one thing that, as we've used your API, is a big win for us is the recording in city and county state taxes. Like, that's such a hard thing for lenders to calculate. It's a hard thing to accurately disclose, and it's state specific. So, you don't know which states have which rules. Yeah. So I thought this was it's a great slide to have in there as a third party kind of fee provider that you have. Anything else on this one?
Nope, not on this one. So for the audience here, I think we have a couple of solutions that serve the broker space a little bit better. We have complimentary free tools for lenders who are on either Lending Pad or Encompass. That's the Lodestar Discovery, Lodestar Connect tools. We will be giving everyone the sign-up link. So you're able to go and quote those fees at no cost. For lenders that are a bit on the larger side, so about 150 loans a month or more, we have more customized solutions. So we set up title agents for you. We have LOS platforms other than Lending Pad and Encompass, and we have it's a little more of a customized solution that works better for lenders as they're originating in more and more states and have a lot of users to manage. But we've seen a lot of popularity with our solutions there. I think we have a new lender, a new broker signing up pretty much every day for one of the two solutions.
That's great. And shifting from the I guess into the Lodestar and Banking Bridge integration. So where kind of what we wanted to discuss on the webinar from the Banking Bridge side is how can we get fees, transparent fees, earlier in the loan process. So as early as when someone is maybe 8 or 10 months out in their home loan or home buying shopping experience, being able to provide them with the actual cost to close on a loan based on their scenario. That's what we work on here at Banking Bridge, and that's how we utilize the Lodestar integration. So what this is showing you here is we provide embeddable tools. These rate tables is an example that goes into a lender or a bank's website, where people that visit the website can actually start to shop for a mortgage, and they can do that anonymously. They don't have to talk to a loan officer. So as they're working in their quote on their website, we're able to present these different, you have your lender fees. These are actually pulled from your pricing engine. And then we work into the settlement and third-party fees. So this would be an example of what's provided to Banking Bridge from Lodestar. So you have real transparency there. And the nice thing about the third-party fees is it is the same across all lenders. So it's really typically, they can shop for some of those, but most of that is, it's going to be your attorney charges. It is what it is. And then your state and county fees based on the location of the property. You have those built into the rate table experience. So wanted to kind of talk and share about that. And then one of the requests that we've been getting really over the last year is we provide closing cost worksheets through the online experience on a bank or lender's website, and being able to create those closing cost worksheets with more transparency and more accuracy. So in the worksheet, you now have your sections where you've got your lender fees, you have your settlement third-party fees, and then you have your itemized state and county fees. So it's much more in-depth lot more takeaways that the potential lead or potential homeowner can have much earlier in the process. So just sharing with you that, and then as we kind of we kind of wrap up, and then just show you a quick live demo of how we utilize the Lodestar API in the actual tools. So you think about trends for 2023, a lot different than when they were in 2020 and 2021 is it just takes a lot longer for people to close. There really is no rush in today's market. So it gives them a lot of time to shop, gives them a lot of time to be educated. It gives you, a lender, the opportunity to present yourself to those prospects. The one thing where we see, and we were talking with Jim's team yesterday, is the value of video blogging or videos through education on whether it's your social media account, whether it's a blog, it's on your website. So using video to educate is a great tool. That's what the consumer wants today. And then believe that transparency will improve conversion. Those are a few trends along with these other ones. Is there anything, Jim, that you see with the consumer, like your own consumer experience or your own experience online that you would say is a trend for this year?
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite stats is, I believe it's something like 70% of all borrowers go with the first lender they talk to. So I don't know if you've heard that before. I don't know what lenders have seen on your end, but for one thing, that means one, you want to be the first borrower that a lender talks to, right? So obviously in the way that you can get yourself out there through content, through SEO marketing, through anything like that, that's important. But you also don't want to be that 30% that you get lost, right? So how do you, once you get someone, make sure that you're capturing that 70% of them? And I think this does a great job of that. And I think the idea of transparency, improving conversion, is not widely accepted in this industry. I went through my first home buying process last summer, and I've ran a calculator company for 10 years, and I was still surprised when I was seeing on some of the quotes that people were coming in, some of the issues that came up. It was very tricky to navigate.
Yeah, it's the mortgage industry is the last industry where you have to. They're still wanting you to talk to a human being to get your fees. And the car industry has moved online, home insurance has moved online. So hopefully, by understanding how you can create transparency, it's mostly through accuracy. So that's the big thing that the pushback that we hear from people that we talk to is they want to make sure that it's accurate. The rates, the pricing engine are accurate. The rates, the fees are accurate, and then where you guys are helping solve for that. So real quick, showing you how we use it. So if you're on the call and you're interested and you're wondering, give me a live example of how am I going to use this every day on my website or in my life as a loan officer. This is an example mortgage website, and under today's rates, you have the rate table. So this is the experience that we were reviewing where your potential visitors, they can hop in here, they can run scenarios right there on the rate table. It pulls in your real-time pricing from your pricing engine, and it will return those rates in right here in the page. You have the ability to integrate Lodestar, where if you click on fees, just like we were showing in the slide, you have your lender fees, which are pulled from your pricing engine, and then you have your breakdown of some third-party fee estimates. So these are all provided from Lodestar, state and county. That's all provided from Lodestar, and then you have your summary, which is your 3 sections added up to total cost. The consumer can also create a closing cost worksheet. So if they click on that, you've got a nice professional breakdown of your estimate of what they've just viewed with your buckets here, your breakdown of the different sections that coincide with what they just saw on the rate table. So that's how this is one of the ways that we're creating that transparency and utilizing Lodestar in the Banking Bridge tool. So Jim, is there anywhere? So tell us about where they can find more about Lodestar, some of the initiatives that you have going on.
Sure. Just one thing I wanted to say about this, Jimmy, and what I like about the tool is the fact that, as a millennial, I think people, especially in the mortgage industry, think that everything's going to happen online with millennials. And, this is an example of something someone can do themselves online. Great. But I think when you're a mortgage professional using this, it's a lot more important to think of, hey, now in my time interacting with someone, because one of the things I talked about, kind of the confusing nature of the process, is millennials, we want experts. We want to find people that we can talk to, right? Then once we get connected with you, we want to see the technology you have. We want to see your website. We want to make sure like things look like what we're used to. So it's great to leverage these tools, because then when you're actually talking to someone, you're not taking in basic information. You're not pulling up a quote. You're sending that to them as a follow-up. You're sending them video content so they know who you are before you even talk to them. So I think leveraging technology is such an important tool, and I think the trends that you were talking about really fit on that really well.
Well, yeah, I agree.
So yeah, to answer your question, we can be found on LinkedIn. We have a podcast, Lodestar Lending Leaders. I know you're going to be a guest soon. We on our website, we also have links to sign up for the 2 free solutions that I had mentioned. And then beyond that, we're just trying to integrate with as many folks as possible. I think the need for fees is only increasing in different platforms. So for us, it's just about expanding that reach, expanding the type of tools that we can offer to folks, and really just continue our mission of being the closing cost experts, which is our goal moving forward.
Well, great. Anything else? We didn't check chat, but is there anything in chat there, Jim? Any questions we have?
I don't see anything in chat at the moment. No, I think you just did such a good job demoing the tool there. I know people can follow up if needed.
Great. Well, thanks for joining, and we will. If you check us out, you can go to bankingbridge.com. Check Jim out as well, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks.